Denise, and I am excited that you are watching the Nitty Grit.
I left my job because I knew that I needed to become the person I'm supposed to be.
I can flip the script in my life too and choose confidence and not be so fear-based.
I always like to look at confidence. I say confidence is something that you don't have to work for. It's what you get to be.
You come into my life and you bring so much and have, you're an inspired artist.
And I felt that with you because you actually reached out to me. And I said, no, this is someone special. I know that I have experienced the grief recovery that you do. So I'm just grateful that we have people like you out there doing this because it's so needed. I love that analogy. I'm personally guilty of living in dreams and actually a lot of ideas.
Learning to be sensitive in a time of frustration, learning to be confident in a time of frustration, learn to be kind to yourself.
We're all born, right, with these, we have unique heartbeats. We have a unique fingerprint. There's obviously an imprint that each of us are supposed to leave and have here in this world.
Make it a great day because y'all know y'all can. Enjoy your weekend. Hey, y'all. Happy Friday. What's good, y'all? I hope that you all are doing well. I am Chantel Denise, and I am so excited that you are spending your Friday night with me. Yay for me. Y'all, my guest tonight, I met her, and when I met this woman, she's so bubbly, so full of life. I was like, I have got to get to know her. But she is an incredible woman. I'm not going to spill all the tea for y'all right now because I want her to do that. But without further ado, welcome my beautiful and lovely guest, Karen Barrios. Hey, lady, how are you?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. I am so excited to dive in and have a great conversation with you.
Yes, me too. How are you doing today, lady?
Good. I actually had such a full day today with work. I had to meet some clients earlier this afternoon and just got home right on time to relax for a second and then get ready for my conversation with you. So I'm really happy to be here tonight.
I'm so happy to have you. Well, you look fantastic.
Thank
you.
I
always love your curls, honey. I'm like, those curls are popping.
That's the one thing that really sets me apart. Me and my sisters, I have two sisters, which you hear a little bit about, but we just love our curls. And I feel like now more than ever, we need to talk about and embrace different backgrounds, different hairstyles. So thank you for that compliment. That's really sweet.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. I have two girls. And they both have curls, but they like straight hair. And I'm like, why?
I think I kind of went through a phase like that a little bit when I was a teenager too. It's almost like I didn't know what to do with my hair. I didn't want it to be too wild. I didn't want it to be it's too big. So I kind of, wanted to flatten it out a little bit. But I think the older I got, the better products I got to use. Curly hair now is a big thing. It actually wasn't all the time, but it's now a big thing. So I'm happy because I'm all for the products and I'm all for the good stuff.
Well, I love it. Girl, I just want to, jump right on in because we're already getting started and talking a little bit, but I really
know. It's like I wanted to hold a little back, but then I'm like,
I want to let people know who you are. A lot of times I have guests on here. I like for them to kind of share a little bit about who they are, what they like, all that kind of good stuff. So if you could just tell our guests just a little bit about you before we get into these questions, I would be grateful.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. Again, I feel like the space that you created for women and men in this platform is tremendous. And I'm just really honored to be here. But for those who don't know me, my name is Karen Barrios. I am a wife. I am an entrepreneur. I am a woman of faith. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm so many things that don't necessarily define me. Those are all things that make me who I am. And but I really love the fact that most importantly, right now in this season of my life, I get to be an advocate. I get to be on the side of supporting and being the agent for buyers and sellers, in the area of real estate. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit about that and my business, the Barrios Co Real Estate.
Wow, thank you for that, honey. Yes, and we are going to be talking about real estate. So, all of you out there who are watching on Facebook and YouTube, y'all get ready because I want you to know that I have been really inspired by you because I saw something that you did on, I think it was Facebook with your business, as we're talking about real estate. You really set an example of just like, let me just go for it. I'm going to put myself out there. And I really saw that in you. I saw that with you making videos. I think you did like a 30-day thing or something like that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I remember. That was actually my first video series. So a little bit of context. Do you want me to just jump in or do you want to?
Well, no, I'm going to bring it back up because I think that as we're talking about business, because I want to talk a little bit about business because, you know, many of us don't realize that there's purpose with our business besides making money.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Yes. And I titled our talk tonight, Purposefully Persistent. And that's where I saw you doing those videos. You were very persistent. You were right on target. You were putting yourself out there. And I think in businesses, we have to do that. We have to just go wholeheartedly 100. And I saw that with you. So I wanted to just ask you before we just kind of get into, you know, why you did that. Just if you could just describe a little bit for the audience, like describe being purposefully persistent. What does that mean to you?
That's a great question. And I love that you titled that tonight. I feel like my life has so many themes of persistence. I've really had to be intentional and purposeful. And but really, I feel like there's two things I was made for on this earth. And that is one, I was made to be a woman of faith and have faith and step into faith. And two, really be a business owner, an entrepreneur. But I didn't know that just yet. And because the world teaches us that we have to stay in our lane and kind of do certain things without, and sometimes our creativity or really where our heart wants to go, it doesn't align, right? Because a lot of the times we equate jobs and purpose with money. And so I'm excited to talk a little bit about that. But for me, again, faith and business, those are, I feel like, the two things that really I made for. And I've had to be persistent in both. I've had to personally really be persistent in growing in my faith, growing in my personal development, and really focusing on my own personal journey versus comparison. I know that's a big thing that happens now in society where we're constantly comparing ourselves to other women, other men, other people in our industry, and we're constantly trying to level up, sometimes out of greed or out of jealousy versus from a true authentic place of, I feel called to do this work, right? And so I really love that. I feel like I had to be really persistent with my faith and really persistent with my personal development. But then also with my business, just to kind of give a little bit of all of you a background, before I did real estate and before I started and founded the Barrios Co Real Estate, I worked for media for close to a decade, starting from school. I went to Cal State Northridge. I majored in psychology and communications, loved my time there. And when I was about a junior in college, almost 2 years prior to graduating, I started doing internships in the media world. And I started to really thrive, and I started to get so many opportunities, and I held roles in sales and marketing and so many different, there's a lot of persistency, right? Because starting as an intern and really taking on all these different roles, being promoted, going out of state, moving to New York City, going to Miami, coming back to LA. So I've been a little bit all over the place with my jobs, and the theme of persistence and intentionality has been very, very core. And even when I decided to transition from working close to, a decade in media and being very comfortable in my job and in my company, to starting my own thing with real estate from zero, I actually didn't really know many realtors. And it's been a journey, but going from that to now being in a place where I've done over $6 million worth of real estate on my first year, earned beyond what I could imagine. And it's just been, and it's not so much about again, I take it back to the beginning, like I was saying, this theme of purposefully being persistent aligns with also my calling. It's not so much about making money. That's come as a result of me choosing to step into my worth, choosing to step into my calling, and choosing to step into just what I believe God has for my life and my family's life.
Girl,
I know that's a lot, but okay.
that's good stuff. I'll snap you up, baby. That's really good stuff. I love how you said, purposely being persistent. You actually did that, but you are in tuned and aligned with your calling. You get that. You get that I don't have to do all these things. And it was like made in reality for you. So you had to work some other jobs, and you got to this place really like realizing like, oh, no, this is what I'm called to do. I love that you're a woman of faith. And that's where we actually met, which was at church. I don't know if I see you froze a little bit. I don't know what just happened. So let's hopefully you'll get back on. These technical difficulties happen all the time, y'all. So they happen because we're using all this technology. Everybody's, using it. Maybe in my neighborhood, everybody's on right now. Maybe in yours. Did you hear that? You froze for a little bit.
It froze for a little bit. Can you repeat that again?
Yes. So what I was saying is that you basically really listen to your calling. I also talked about how I met you at church.
Yes,
and I love
the faith.
I love that you are a woman of faith. And I think, faith really guides a lot of what we do as believers. It really just guides us. And so I'm really, really inspired for the fact that you're like, no, I know what I was put here for. I'm clear on that. I am clear. I think for the audience, that's a topic in itself that we could talk about all night long. That's a whole nother show, because I think that really, when you get clear on what you're here for and what you're supposed to do, it makes life a little bit easier. It doesn't get complicated. When we're not clear, it's complicated, right? You were talking about you making money was the benefit and the blessing of you stepping out, purposefully persistent to do what God had called you to do. Yes. I absolutely love that. And I think that that's good for people to hear, because it's really not all about like, let me get this job so I can have more money. I can stack the bags. That's the new thing right now. Let's stack the bags. Hey, you were blessed because you worked hard, because you went into a field that you feel you were called to go into.
Yes.
That's what happened for you. And I think sometimes that stuff gets switched around, and I don't know if people out there are watching if they can relate, but, sometimes it gets switched around for us where we're like, oh, I just got to get this job because I got to pay these bills, or I want to have this nice car and I got to get this, but there's no passion behind the job. There's no calling for the job. So you just really laid it out. And I think that is so good.
Let me tell you, a lot of the times we work for a job versus our job working for us. So that's a big takeaway. And let me tell you, favor from, and again, this is my belief, and everybody is entitled to their own background, their own, wherever their strength comes from. For me, it happens to be God, the Bible, prayer, and my belief. And I feel like that foundation is so important. Mm-hmm. And we're going to, I can talk a little bit more about it. I know you have some really great questions for me, but I feel like it's crucial to not just kill ourselves and sacrifice for just making more money. It doesn't make sense. But it's in my life, of course, hard work, favor of God that I believe, and also it didn't come overnight. So I'm happy to share a little bit more about it if you like. But
yes, let's
overnight success. Let's talk a little bit about how to get there, right? How to be persistent in the pursuit of our purpose.
Yes, I love that. Yes, we're going to talk. We'll jump and dive a little bit more in these questions. But girl, you're giving some good stuff. You really are. And you mentioned one of my favorite words, because that's my journey for the last year and a half has been living as a woman of worth, really just valuing myself first. I'm not worried about what everybody else thinks, but valuing me first and what I bring to the table and being confident that this is what I have to offer. It either it's for you or it's not, and it's all good. So I think it sounds like that's who you are too. You're just like, this is what I come to give. So I love it. But you kind of answered part of the next question, which was, why did you get into real estate? I know you said that you felt called to do it. Like let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like what was the reality or the revelation for you that, hey, I'm called to do this?
Yeah, I love it. I feel like this, I really want to be transparent because I don't want to, there's a lot of success, blessing, and favor over my life right now. And I want to have every young woman out there or somebody who's a couple steps behind me, whether they want to do real estate or something else, to understand that it's a journey. And for me, the previous career that I had in media, it really was a perfect stepping stone into what I'm doing now. So let me tell you a little bit about it. I felt so, what's the word? Filled in my positions when I worked in media. I felt fulfilled. I felt content. And I had so much fun. I had so much fun holding roles in marketing, in advertising, in sales. Like I had so much fun in doing that. But I felt it came a point where I started to realize that I was building these brands' dream and desire and their success. I was building their wealth. I was building their brand and whatever they wanted to do, right? And I was excited that I got to be a part of it because I got to work with really, really big brands. And a lot of the times that gives you a little bit of confidence and almost identity, right? And that's why I'm not any longer in a place where jobs and titles and positions and things that happen or don't happen give me worth. But at one point I did. I mean, I was younger. We all at some point when we're younger, when we're coming out of college, we're trying to figure things out. And I think for me, these jobs gave me a lot of confidence. It gave me a lot of security. I felt really validated. And it came a point where I had to ask my question, is it the job that I'm passionate about? Or is it really the creative process, the marketing, the sales, to have, it was that more my, what was it? And it came down to that. I love creating. I love marketing. I love selling, actually, but even or not, I know some people just hate sales, but for me, I really see it as an art. And I love to be able to build relationship with people. So I think for me, all those things were perfect, but I wanted them to have a bigger purpose versus just building more money for X brand or Y brand, I'm sorry. And that's really why I decided to do real estate, because I wanted to not just build wealth, security, and freedom for myself and my family, but I wanted to help other people do that. And let me tell you, there is nothing more raw than sitting with potential first-time home buyers or first-time home sellers than to do a real estate transaction. It's raw. There's a lot of emotions that go into it, and you really are such a pivotal part of that next step for them. So for me, I felt a bigger calling to really helping people possess their promised land and really help them have bigger impact than just, oh my goodness, I saw this great ad on television. And I really wanted to have something long lasting. And I feel like real estate has really given me that. And I feel like that's why I've been very successful within real estate. For me, it's not just about the money. It's really about the experience. And my clients are at the center of that.
Ooh, I love, 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 love. You just basically, any type of service you give, you just basically just said it all. Your clients, they're important to you. You can hear it as you talk. It's like it's really about making sure that they're happy. It's making sure that they get a good product, that you show them the best. And that's what I'm hearing coming from you. And I absolutely love it. Because at the end of the day, you're creating a community with these clients, right?
Yes.
You know, you talked a little bit about how it has impacted you. I just want to know too, I really love where you're going here. I want to just hear about, like, you know, you talked about you actually loved media, you actually loved marketing, you actually love sales. And I heard that. What else is exciting about this particular field for you? Like, what have you discovered? Like, oh my gosh, I'm even excited about this too. Can you share a little bit of that?
Absolutely. And I love these questions. And I can go so many places with them, but I think I'm going to narrow it down to why the Barrios Co and why I chose my brokerage. So I'm part of, currently right now, it might be different in the future, but right now I'm part of eXp Realty. It's a nationwide brokerage. The reason why I decided to join this specific brokerage was because it was going to give me the ability to really grow my brand, which is why I'm the owner and founder of the Barrios Co Real Estate. I really wanted to not just be a transaction manager. I really wanted to be pivotal in the decision-making process for my clients. I really wanted them to have the best agency, and I wanted them to have the most creative, modern marketing that they can, because this is everything we're doing in a real estate transaction equates to wealth, whether you're a buyer or a seller. If you buy and you hold on to your property for X amount of years, there's going to be an appreciation and you're going to see that return at some point. And if you're selling, depending on how the market's doing, if you hold on to that property and sell it at the right time with the right marketing, the right agency by your side, you are going to come out on top and have really great capital to invest elsewhere, whether it's buying another house, whether it's putting money towards your kids' college fund, whatever is it that you want. So for me, and by the way, I forgot to mention this, and this is really important. For many, many years, I've been a city girl. I lived in the city. I lived in top cities, New York, Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles. I've always been a city girl and hustling all the time. I mean, for those who know me, you know that I was, and I'm still very purposefully driven and persistent, but I was very career driven at the beginning too, because like I mentioned, when you're younger, it's hard for you to differentiate purpose with getting your worth from something else, right? From or from metrics, right?
Yeah.
So when I was younger, that was kind of a thing, and I've been in big cities. So I actually ended up moving in 2020 during the pandemic to a small little town called Pine Mountain Club, California. It's only 60 minutes away from Los Angeles and Santa Clarita, Bakersfield. Just we're kind of a really hidden secret, and not a lot of people know about this beautiful mountain community. It really is a less commercialized version, I like to call it, than Big Bear and Lake Arrowhead. We have mom and pop shops versus a McDonald's or Starbucks at every corner. So come on by, girl. I would love to host you.
I didn't even know you moved.
Yeah. Well, I lived in San Fernando Valley for many, many years, and I did that. And we wanted to stay there because our church community was there, and obviously that's so important. Our family was there, so important. Our community of friends was so important. But there came a point, like I said, where God asked me to lay certain things down in my life, me and my husband, and we decided to pursue things that were perhaps not conventional, or who moves to the mountains, right? And I gotta tell you, I was meant to live this season. I was meant to live this season here right now. I was meant to build, and I share that all the time, and that there's a season for everything. And I feel like for me, real estate is so much more purposeful than a transaction, kind of going back to your question. And I found so much more meaning in this because I am building my community. We're a community of about 2,000 people. So I'm walking my dog. I'm going to get the mail. I'm going down to the grocery store. They're my neighbors. I'm not talking about I'm buying you a house 3 hours from here or in an area that I don't even get to see you. Like, I'm seeing you every single day. And I think that I was meant to start my journey of real estate here for that specific purpose, to make those specific people not just feel great because of the transaction or get what they want, but really be pivotal in that transaction. And let me tell you, I know I can talk on and on about so many things.
You know what? I love it. I'm like letting you go for it because you're the expert at this. And I want people to know and I want people to hear because this is really valuable stuff. And even just to the point where you talk about like, hey, you know, God called me to leave. I had to move. I'm in a different season, different place. I had to move. This is all good stuff because, you know, sometimes we're pounding the pavement in a certain place, in a certain job or certain location. And, you know, we're frustrated because nothing's shaking and baking. But you've just really just made a great point. Like, you know, God uprooted you to show you what he had for you over here.
And it may not always be here, but I do feel like that's been part of the beauty in me doing real estate and really working and really starting this boutique agency with my husband, who's my business partner, because I get to really run things and do with that I feel they need to be. And that's why I love the Barrios Co and everything that we're building. And it's really all about persistence and consistency. You have to show up. So
I love that you're doing it together too. What a beautiful thing. I love when husband and wives partner in business. I think it's the coolest thing. You know, you're talking about all these things and I'm so excited. Like I'm really excited for what's going on for you, really. I want to know, because I think sometimes, you know, people that are listening, they think, oh, everything is going well for her right now, but it's not going right for me right now. And, you know, everybody's all talking about their successes and blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
You haven't always had that though. So I want to talk about what has been the biggest obstacle that you have faced in this field of work, and how have you dealt with it? And are you still dealing with it?
Yeah, that is an amazing question. In the world of real estate or in the world of entrepreneurship, as you know, everything is unexpected. Nothing is for certain, especially in the world of real estate. Mm-hmm. We don't get paid until that house is closed. We don't close on a house until X, Y. Like there's a process to everything. And I really do feel like that's the same theme in my life. And that's why the theme of persistency is so important, because I have to lean into being persistent and showing up, and even when I don't feel like it, even when I don't want to. And I have situations where things go, no matter how wealthy you are, no matter if you're a millionaire, trouble is coming your way. We all are going to face challenges, and challenges of different magnitudes. And with real estate, I won't even tell you. I mean, even today, I had a call and this deal was going perfectly. We just had a curveball. We have to now pivot and do it can be a very frustrating, disastrous, helpless situation. And because a lot of the times we're within a time constraint, right? We have to close a certain house within a certain period of time, or the seller needs to move, or the buyer needs to get into this new place, or interest rates are going up, so we need to get you into a house, or the market is hot. So there's so many complexities with the real estate market. But one of the things that I always go back to is, what strength, what foundation am I standing on? Because I have trouble all the time. Like I'm telling you, I have calls and things that happen all the time, even though I'm doing every single thing right. And I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that my clients are taken care of. Curveballs are going to happen. And that's happened in my life too, where, since from a young age to now, like I've had circumstances, and if you know me personally, if you're a friend of mine, or if you know fully my story, and I know we don't have time to talk about all complexities of my life here, but
that's show part 2.
That's show part, yes. And I feel like for me, and that's why I always go back to, I was made for 2 things. I was made for faith and business. And this is where the faith part comes in, because I do experience challenge almost daily with this, especially how the market's doing right now. There's a lot of things that go on. So I really just try to take it each day at a time. I feel like I've graduated. And for those women and men out there who feel like I don't know how to not see beyond my circumstance, or I don't know how to see beyond my challenge or beyond my heartache, I want to tell you there's another side. You just have to keep going. You have to keep just the foot on the gas and just keep driving that car to the place where you feel you need to go. And for me, that's why faith has been such a guiding force. It's really helped me be that much more confident when trial and challenges come my way, because I'm able to really overcome with the confidence that's greater than myself. I don't have to put on all that burden and pressure, even though I still fall short, and I still feel at times, how am I going to be able to do this? Can I do this?
Yeah.
And there's those questions all the time, especially when things go wrong and you're essentially the person responsible for fixing. And again, there's so many circumstances, so I would have to talk about a specific interest, but I have challenges every day, even
So do you think, I want
challenges.
to chime in a little bit with that, because you mentioned that you have challenges every day. And I think that this is good because, we all have them, like you said. When you think about that, you have these challenges. I know like your faith is very strong for you, because I hear it. It's loud. I hear it over and over. And I love that. When you think about it, like, it's because this almost sounds like when you have these things where you get to like almost closing a deal and it doesn't happen for you, it's kind of like rejection almost, from like, that's kind of like how I would look at it. So when you like, if you had a practical, like you say, you have your faith, is it prayer for you? Is it, you write down, you go back to your vision board and remind yourself of who you are in God? What is it for you? Like, how do you actually handle all these things that come your way? I think specific, if you had a specific thing you can share with people, because I think it'll be helpful for people to go.
It would be helpful.
Because a lot of people who are believers, they know like, oh, I can pray about this. And then some people pray and they go, but it's not changing. You know what I'm saying? You got those people. And it's like, faith without deeds is useless, right? So what action step would you say that you have taken that actually helps you in these times of feeling like, oh, I worked so hard for that and it didn't happen?
Can I share two?
You can.
Okay, good. I know you said one. Number one, I would say it's crucial, and that's why I say my husband is my business partner. He's my husband, and he's my greatest encourager, my greatest supporter. But he is also my business partner. When you're in business, when you're a woman in business, and you're right, I know I leaned a little bit as to where I get my strength and how that is important to me. But when you're a woman in business, no matter your background, no matter what you believe in, you need to have a lifeline. You need to have someone in your life, if it's a mentor, if it's a spouse, if it's someone that is aligned with you and understands your business goals, because things are going to happen. I've had situations where I've worked for months and months and months, and then a deal doesn't happen, and then I don't get paid. And what do we do in situations like that where I don't get paid, or situations where my seller or my buyer are completely upset with me because X and Y reason? And I always need we need a bouncing board, right? We need to be able to have someone that we can confide in, and that's going to have confidentiality and be a safe place for us to really not just vent. I don't want you to just vent and, oh my goodness, my life is horrible. And I don't want you to do that. The practical here is, number one, have a mentor, a business partner, or a accountability partner in business. If you have one in faith, that's great. If you have one in marriage, that's great. If you have one as a mom, that's great. In business, you need somebody. And I actually have two. Aside from my husband, I have a mentor who I'm able to bounce off things from, because two are better than one. We sometimes think better. And I think the best thing is for you also not to beat down yourself about a situation. And that would be my practical number two. Forgive yourself. Things happen. As when you are a business owner, things aren't. I just did a reel about it. I was sharing a tip about doing video content. Nobody knows the ins and outs of everything you're doing behind the scenes in your business. If there's a mess up, if there's a situation that could have been handled differently, pivot and change it. Forgive yourself and move forward. I think a lot of the times we sit on the situation. I'll give you an example. I had recently a friend of mine reached, she and I went to high school together. She's a great dear friend of mine, and I've been working with her for months on finding a home. A couple months went by, I didn't hear from her, so I kept trying to reach out. I reached out recently, and she decided to buy a property with somebody else. And this happens a lot in real estate. And so just think about it. You have a client, whatever your business is, you have a client that you've been taking care of for months. And then and it's not so much about the money that I'm thinking about. I'm just, there's sacrifice, there's intention, there's purpose that goes behind our work sometimes. Instagram posts, like what we're doing even today, like there's so many things that we do in order to reach and be of value to our clients. And in that situation, I really had to, one, of course, inquire what happened and how could I be better? Like, is there a blind spot in my life? Is there something I could have been, I could have done better?
Yeah.
Or if you sell products in a package, you send it through UPS, and it happens sometimes. UPS people just, I'm not saying everybody, I'm just, they're throwing them everywhere, and then it's broken, and then your client comes back and leaves you an S. What do you do in those types of situations? When you're a business owner, you have to take ownership. You have to take ownership, and you have to forgive yourself. You have to look at the problem and find a solution. I've become such a big solution-oriented person. And but before, I didn't want to just say be a solution-oriented person. Forgive yourself. That is my practice. Forgive yourself for the things you could have controlled, that could have done better, could have called this, going back to my specific situation, could have called this specific person more. Absolutely. Could I followed up more? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's out of your control what people decide to do. And
it is. It's never in your control what other people decide to do.
Yes.
It's never in our control. And so I love that you're sharing this, because it really isn't. People are going to do what they feel in their heart they want to do.
yes.
I lift you up because I usually don't do business with friends. So you just mentioned that this was a friend that you're working with, because it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd rather keep the relationship than have it turn into some crazy. So you are a bigger woman than me, girl. I love it though. I'm like sitting here just in awe and inspired.
For this friend, I love you, and we have had a conversation. I would have never mind had she told me, hey, I want to work with X person for X and Y reasons. Completely understand this specific circumstance.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you, for those of you out there, don't take it personal. If someone else,
that's a good one.
Don't take it personal.
That's a good one, girl.
So going back to the practicals, if you are really struggling with these challenges, go talk to your mentor, go talk to your business partner, go have a good constructive brainstorm as to what you could have done better. Once you figure out the problem, think of solutions and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, because that's the best thing. You just upwards and onwards, right? It's like when we post things on Instagram, people are so concerned as to, they're going to see that and on to the next one. This is the world now. On to the next one, on to the next one. So that needs to be also our heart. And we need to it goes back to the theme of persistence. We just got to continue to be persistent and just be better.
I love it. You're just really dropping gems, honey. Yes, yes. Be persistent. Forgive yourself. I got it. I heard it. Forgive yourself. And you know what? I loved what you just shared too, because we don't really have time to really go deep into this, but a lot of people don't realize that they actually need some help, right? Yes. I turned myself in a year and a half ago. I was like, I need some help. And I went and joined a life program, Live Your Vision, and got myself together there. Right? Yes, with Julie. So I got some good information there and learned a lot about myself and learned how amazing God had made me, actually. So I'm a fan of mentoring and coaching. I'm a personal life coach myself. I got certified because I felt I was called to do that, to help people and get deeper with them, because sometimes we need someone to actually help us go deep, help us to take dives, because sometimes we won't. So I love that you talked about that, because I don't think a lot of people, I think sometimes people are embarrassed to get help, or they feel like I should know this. It's like, no, you shouldn't know. You're at where you're at for a reason. And it's okay to pull somebody else in and help you.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that. This is all good. I want to read a few of these comments though, because I got a few comments here.
Oh, yes. Come on, comments.
Just going back. A lot of these comments are like highlights from what you shared. One is, if you are called to do something by God, there is no need to compare yourself to anyone else.
Yes.
There's such a wonderful story of faith and success. And then, I am a tech major. Blips are inevitable. It is okay. Don't work for your job, rather make your job work for you. Seek first the kingdom of heaven, and everything will be given unto you. Matthew 6:33. How wonderful. It is the good thing to understand the season of life in which you're living, and even better to appreciate it. And then there's Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. Two are better than one. Just repeating what you shared. Thank you for these comments. I appreciate them. Yes. Girl, we're almost winding down our time. So I have a couple more questions for you. Yes. You ready? You have really, just so you know, Karen, you've really, I think that you have explained this industry really, really well. And I'm so glad you did that, because one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here was I knew what you were doing. I had been watching you. I had been watching you blossom into this new career field. And I didn't know what you did before. I actually used to be in advertising too. That was my last job. I was a traffic manager though, so I was responsible.
Oh, so I was in national sales, so I was your account person.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, well, I didn't know this about you.
We could talk more about that at another time, but yeah, that was my last job before I went entrepreneurial. And I went entrepreneurial not even really knowing what I was doing. Actually, I just started living my life and using my talent and asking people to pay me for it as an artist. So my husband and I, we started a little small entertainment company, and we still have it to this day. But sometimes you just have to step out and really listen and tune into what God is showing you. And he makes it very, very clear, very, very clear if you pay attention. So I wanted to, kind of close out with these last couple of questions, but you talked a little bit about, success in your business. You talked about like, hey, God is really blessing me. There's a lot of favor on my life. I so appreciate you sharing that. But I want to ask you, like, if you had to define success in business, what would you say?
Wow. If I had to define success in business, what would I say? It makes me a little emotional to say this. And I think it's really seeing myself clearly. I know that it's like really seeing my identity and seeing that I am worth not just the money, not just the praise, not just, it's not about that, but that I was created to be a person, a woman of influence and impact. Because me doing real estate, it's so much more than that. People will stop me while I'm out in town. And for me, success, it's not so much them saying, oh, here, I'm ready to sell my house. Sure. I mean, that's an edifying step and metric for me on my business side, on the business end, yes. But you know what defines success? When someone calls.
I'm losing you. I just lost you. So you guys, we're having a little technical difficulty.
About situation that's happening that they're going back.
Back.
To summarize it all is being of value to people and knowing not by them validating me, but by me doing the work that I need to do in their lives. That's success to me.
I like it. You just really cleared up a lot. I think you guys, we can just call it a night with that one. That was so beautiful. So beautiful.
I'm just going to add one more thing to that, and I'm going to say this.
Add one more thing to it, Mama.
The people that end up working with the Barrios Co. or end up deciding to have me be part of their life in one of the biggest life decisions is because they see the value and they are meant. I am meant to walk them through that journey. And that to me is the most satisfying thing, because everybody just wants to be seen. And I give the platform for my clients to be seen. And no matter whether a deal closes or not, that doesn't define my success, because of my foundation and because of what I believe, but it only validates the journey that I need to continue to be on.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well said. Well said. Thank you. I'm like sitting here. I want to go back and rewatch this one actually, because she just really shared a lot of good. And I appreciate it so much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
I feel the same way, success, different people layer it for different reasons for themselves. But I love the purity and the genuineness of where you get your success from. And I feel the same way. If I can wake up every morning and do something better, that's success to me. If I could look at myself in the mirror and go, I absolutely love what I'm seeing here, girl, and you just go out there and you turn the world upside down because you're capable of it, that's success for me. You know what I'm saying? Really living in your ownness, your muchness, and who you are, who God made you to be. And that's what I'm hearing from you very, very clearly. And I just think that I hope that people are soaking this up, because at the end of the day, whether you're a real estate agent, whether you're a mom, dad, whether you are working the corporate ladder, it's building someone else's business, none of it matters at the end of the day if you can't look in the mirror and see yourself for who you really are and who you want to be.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So good stuff. Kudos to you. This last question I wanted to ask you before we close out. You've given out a lot of advice for realtors. I believe you've given out a lot of advice for business in general. I think this stuff that you're sharing is not just for one kind of job. It's global. It's for anybody. What I wanted to ask you lastly is if you could share maybe one practical tip that you can share that what has been a win for you in building business. We talked about your faith. We talked about your husband and being a partner and having a mentor. Is there any other tip that you could share that has been a win for you?
Yes. Consistency.
Consistency.
You need to show up and you need to do the work. It doesn't matter. And I love, and just going back a little bit to what you said, Chantel, you're living in your purpose. And I'm not there physically with you, but every time I see these lives, whether it's whether it's going viral or not, you're making a difference. You're reaching the people that you need to in this season. And what I love most about being consistent is that you may not see some people, yes. I mean, of course, everybody's now in the instant gratification, oh my goodness, TikTok, I want to be viral. Oh my goodness. Like everybody wants everything so quick. That's not life. I mean, I put pieces of content that sometimes take me an hour or two to do, and it only gets 10 likes. It only gets 10 watches. What do you do about things like that? What do you do when you spend so much time and sacrifice working for somebody and then they end up not really wanting to work with you, or X and Y thing happens? Like I was sharing a little earlier about one of my personal circumstances with work. You need to just be consistent. You need to not worry and just keep showing up every day and do what you are called to do, no matter what anyone else is doing. Don't compare yourself. I know that's the hardest thing for men and women in business, because we're constantly looking over our shoulder, trying to, oh, what are they doing? Oh, what are they doing? How come I'm not getting that success? How come I don't have that X followers? That's not what should be at the center of your business. It should be consistency, and the big key word we spoke about today, persistence. They're both together. It just really goes back together. You have to show up and you have to do the work. No one else is going to do it for you.
Nice. Thanks, Karen. Y'all hear that? Consistency is the key. You have to continue to do what you have been called to do. And I know some of you may not know what you're called to do right now. Some of you are in transition and trying to figure out, hey, what am I here for? What am I supposed to be doing? And if you guys need a little help with that, you feel free to reach out. I want, Karen, I want you to leave your handles for people if they want to find you and talk to you a little bit more about some of the stuff you shared, and even about real estate, because you may have some people out there that want to get into it. So Can you share where they can find you?
Absolutely. So thank you again for having me here. I know we cover really big topics and we kind of went to, I'm such a passionate person. So
I can tell, baby. Already, I like that about you.
Well, you know that about me already. We're friends.
Yeah, I know that. And I like that about you. That's what this platform is for you to share your passion, share your purpose.
And so I know that there was a lot of bigger picture things that I shared. And but if I'm gonna hit a couple points. If you specifically are a buyer, seller, and you're thinking about buying real estate, or you want to buy a property, or you want to sell your property, let's have a conversation. Let's figure out if I am the perfect person to support you in that transaction. Or, I mean, I have a big network of partners all around Los Angeles, all around California, all around the United States that can really support you with your real estate needs. So if you're specifically looking for that, please, I am an expert at this, and I will help you, and I will make sure you're with the right person. And number two, if you're looking to build your own business and you want to do it through a career in real estate, let's have a conversation. I love the brokerage that I'm in. I love the Barrios Co. And we are a group. We're continuing to grow. If you want to be part of our group, and you don't necessarily have to live where I live or work where I work, I will happily support you in every step of the way. And lastly, for women and men and younger girls who are watching this and this message is reaching, even if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know where your calling is, I was there once. I didn't have all the answers, but you know what I did? I was consistent. I was showing up every day and doing what I had to do. I was going to college. When I needed to go to college, I was working when I needed to work. Then I went ahead and got a job, and everything started to become clear. Had you at 18 years old told me, Karen, you're going to be doing real estate and you're going to be you're going to be growing your brand, you're going to be growing your media company, had somebody told me that, I would have said, no, I think I'll settle for my X and Y job and full benefits and X and Y and Z, because that's what we know, a lot of us.
Yeah.
I had to go through my journey. So please do not discredit your journey. You're in that journey for a reason. If you want to call me, if you want to text me, my number is 818-270-5234. The best way that most people now are finding me and reaching me is through Instagram, through Facebook, through Google, through really any platform. I'm there, LinkedIn. And it really,
the name of your platform on Insta.
On Instagram is at the THE Barrios, like my last name, BARRIOS CO, the Barrios Co. So if you go on Google and you type that up, you'll find me. You'll find my Google reviews. If you go on Facebook, the Barrios Co, you'll find me there. Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere at the Barrios Co. And I'm happy to support you, of course, with real estate, but even just everything that excites me. And I think you got a little peek into what that is, and that is empowerment, that is faith, that is purpose, that is calling, that is really just building the life that you're meant to have.
All of it. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Girl, we need to tag team and go and just get out into these streets and start empowering folks, because I love your passion.
Oh, I want to share something.
I love your passion.
I just started a platform that actually channels like yourself, like the Nitty Grit, really inspired. And it's called at Women Who Move Mountains on Instagram. And we also have a Facebook.
I saw that.
Yeah. So it's really inspired by platforms like this, by you, by women who have gone before me and are doing the work. And do you think I know a lot about podcasting and all these different things? I mean, I have an idea a little bit because of my background, but I guess what I'm trying to say is we all start from zero. So if you want to follow me there, if you're young, if you're a woman who is looking for a community where your business is being uplifted, follow both myself and Chantel at Women Who Move Mountains and at the Nitty Grit. And we would love to continue to support you we really do this at the overflow of our hearts. This is really a
Yes.
space. Thank you for making it available for me. And I'm going to continue to
I'm glad you
model.
could be here, Mama. I'm glad you could be here. So if you need help with that podcast stuff, you know who to call, because I can help you with that. So when you're ready,
Oh,
let
yes.
me know. Let me
For
know.
those who want-
But yeah,
for those-
that's our time. I want to talk some more, but that's our time. So y'all, we are going to go on Instagram, though. I always do a recap on Instagram. So for those of you on Facebook and YouTube, if you want a little bit more, we do a little recap on Instagram and talk just one specific area. So I really appreciate you. You need to be speaking, just so you know, FYI, like on a stage.
Thank you.
We'll
Oh,
talk more about that, but because you've given such great information and you know what you're talking about, and I think that's priceless. It's golden. When people know what they're talking about, people want to hear that, and they need to hear it on a bigger level as well. So, but I'm grateful that you blessed us tonight, honey, and that you're here sharing everything that you shared. Thank you for my husband put in the chat where people could find you. So thank you for leaving your handles. Thank you for just giving your full heart, every part of you. I saw it tonight. So I appreciate it. Y'all, that's our time. Facebook and YouTube. Thank y'all for watching, and y'all know what to do. Make it a great day, because y'all can. Peace out, y'all. Thank you, darling.